Alright, so I'm just gonna organize everything the way it came out. So this would be on top, below it, and same thing here. This is on top, below it, and make sure to keep it even more organized. I'm not gonna flip it like this, so I know that this pointed up on this drum. It pointed up, so. And I don't know if you can see that, but basically that's it's got some wear. Yeah, these are pretty worn out. Actually, the frictions are completely worn out. There's nothing left on them. And even if this seems overkill to you, I'm gonna keep doing it because I want to know exactly where each bolt was when it came out, so I know exactly how to put this back together. And I think this is called a nacelle ring, and I believe I'll double check the diagram, but I believe the curve points downward, so it cups like this with the pocket or the empty space pointed at the bottom of this drum. So it looks like there's still something left in this drum. Yeah, so my initial guess was that this was crooked, and it was, because if you can see, it was down like that. I just pushed it up with a flathead, but that thing's sitting crooked. So whether that was the reason why this entire pack failed, or if this is just like something else. I don't know, but you can see it's not flat. And so what I did was took a flathead and I pried up on here. Okay, so basically I just pried up on here, and now it's actually flat. It's sitting even now, but that's not how it was when I found it. I'm trying to be careful in case this thing just springs up and hits my face. But this whole drum could be toast. I mean, there's something wrong with it. I don't know if you can see it, but this spring here, it's sticking out way uneven. So see, it's sticking way out. So there's gotta be something wrong with that spring. So you can see it right here. It's sticking way out. Yeah, there you go. You can see that. And there's like jagged metal pieces. This is actually probably why that gear was stuck to here, because of that. Because that doesn't seem normal. Okay, yeah, that makes sense now why there's a score mark on the bottom of this. So that must have been what was rubbing against that. See, it's all along the bottom. Not sure, but hopefully this gear can be reused. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but looks like there's a snap ring right here. So if I separate that, I should be able to get this holder and spring out. Okay, so it looks like the way to do it is, I don't know if you can see, but basically right there where the start and stop of the snap ring is, use a small flathead, put it on there, and you're gonna relieve the pressure by pushing down on it, and use a pick or anything that you want, and you're gonna pull that snap ring off. Okay, there's actually metal shavings all over this thing. So whatever happened to this thing, it cut even through the snap ring. So this is really abnormal. That's not just dirt. That's metal. And it actually looks like it's bowed upwards too. So I'm not sure if that's normal or what happened. Okay, so basically we've got this retainer. Yeah, there's metal all in there's metal all in this lip here. Yeah, and I can feel metal all in here too. It's like metal sand. Okay, so this must be the spring. Yeah, you can see metal, because I don't see how dirt got into this thing. That's most likely just metal. And here's the spring. Whoa. Yeah, see, I feel there's a ton of metal. Yeah, so the bottom of the spring was ground against this drum probably. Yep. That must be why it looks so bad down there. So it ground on this surface here. Yeah, because it's worn down right here. There's no way that's normal, because this spring is not supposed to spin at all. A spring wouldn't be designed like that. See what I'm saying? How this part of the spring is sticking out. There's no way that's normal. It should be the same evenness across the whole coil, and it's not like that. Yeah, something about this seems really odd. I just realized there's a piston in here, and on the diagram it shows that there's an O-ring on both sides, so there should be one on this side, but it's completely gone. So I would think that all this black stuff should be the O-ring that got melted, but when I scrape at it, I mean, maybe it is, but it feels hard. So if this is actually what's left of the O-ring, it's really hard. It feels like metal. But basically, to take out the piston, you just twist it and it should easily come out. So there's the drum, and I actually might get lucky and I might be able to reuse this. So kind of looks, there's a groove in here. I'm gonna check to see if maybe that's for an O-ring. Maybe actually that's the snap ring. That's the metal snap ring up here. So I might be able to reuse this, and this is like $250, so that'd be great if I can. But this piston is toast. So there should be, I don't know what that is. looks like for balancing or something. There should be an O-ring on this side, which is gone. Oh, there is an O-ring on this side here that's broken. Yeah, you can see right there, this O-ring's broken. So maybe this is one of them. But I remember seeing two on the diagram, one on this side and one on this side. I thought it was here, but maybe this is the one I was looking at. So there's one here. Wow, it looks like it broke in two places actually. Looks like yeah, looks like it got broken in. Huh. It got broken in like 4 different places. Wow. Okay, well, I'll check the diagram again, but there should be one somewhere here, which is gone, obviously. And this O-ring, it's not hard and brittle. It's still flexible, so I'm not sure why. And it broke clean too. Anyways, so maybe I got lucky because this is all scored up. This definitely has to get replaced, but it looks like I'll look at this closer, but maybe I can save this. And this part right here, this got scored. This definitely needs to get replaced. So anything that you see that's scored, it probably has to get replaced. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick rundown. Okay, so third clutch drum, and I set it up just how it would go back into it. So piston goes into here, then the spring on top of this piston, 2 O-rings, the other one, who knows, I'll have to look it up. This is the holder for the spring, which is extremely deformed. I mean, look how much it's sticking out. See, that's completely not normal. And then after this holder goes on the spring, this circlip, compress it, and it actually, just like I showed before, there's the groove at the top of the drum, and so that goes in there. Just spread this apart and then push it down, and you'll actually have to compress this holder down because it gets this will get in the way. So push this down while you push this down onto the drum. And then once all that, this nacelle, and I would double check it because it cups down on one side or the other, but I think it cups down like that. So that gets placed on top of that, I think. And then this is a steel, friction steel, and I'll just follow it exactly like this setup, except with new frictions and steels. And so the last ring is a friction, and this tops it. So you can see the orientation of this. And then the gear goes through the middle of all of those rings. So I have no idea what that is, but basically you're gonna collapse all these. So I don't know if this is directional, but there is a difference inside. This middle part of the ring, it seems like it's smooth on this side and it's flat on that side. So I just remember that it went on here and then it went up on this double gear, and then this washer goes up on here with the X. You can see the X right there, so that goes up, and then the shaft goes through, and the reverse threaded nut goes on there, the 34mm nut. And all of this locks, all these steels and frictions, they lock in with that circlip there. And what's nice is that this is only like $66. This was like what, $20 or $16, something like that. That's like $4. That's like $1 something. That was only like $2 or whatever. And I'm replacing all of the bearings. It's expensive, but getting a rebuilt or remanufactured one, it's gonna cost like $1,000 or $1,200 plus $400 for shipping. So getting all of these costs a few $100s, but I mean, you're getting a brand new transmission basically. I don't know how much that costs, but I think I got really lucky, and all the parts that are really bad, I can replace for pretty cheap. Okay, so on the piston, the two O-rings are the one on the edge right here, and the other one is right in the inside right here. So those are the two O-rings. So that means that all of this is just metal. That's not dirt, that's just metal. So just remember to change both of those O-rings. So the tool that we're gonna need to get the bearings out, or the gears out, is a wheel puller. So it's basically this, and for the end, you could swap this part out for whatever you want. There's that, and there's a smaller one. So we're gonna use the larger one. So put that here, and none of these bolts actually fit. So I think these came from when I did the timing belt. Maybe the timing cover bolts. Basically just get any Honda 10mm bolt and then just test on the gear. These are the gears that we're gonna pull. So there's a hole there, here, here, and here. And these two are short, so these bolts will work. But for the bigger one, it's basically the length of my fist, plus about that much, to clear this and the tool. So all you gotta do is just take a few spare Honda 10mm bolts, and then just test it on the holes, and if it fits, just take it to the hardware store or go online and figure out what length you need and what pitch or yeah, I'm not sure how you'd figure it out, but basically just take this to the hardware store and test their low display. It'll let you screw it in and you can figure out what kind of bolt this is. But online you can probably get it at McMaster-Carr, but you have to know the pitch size and all that stuff. I forgot what all the information you need, but basically just it's a 10mm Honda bolt, so just get the right length for your tool. Okay, for the tool to set this up, we only need 2 of them because there's one here. There's not a third hole, so we're gonna use on this tool. We're gonna use these 2 slots, and so you're gonna use actually the 2 size washer that the kit comes with. So the smaller size on top, under the bolt head, and then the bigger one above it. Because if you don't have that one, it's kind of loose. So stack the 2 size washers on there, put it into this hole, and then you're gonna thread it in here into the hole, and you can do that for both sides. Okay, next we're gonna remove this gear, and this gear. And if you notice, they each have 2 slots here, and here. They're threaded, so all you need to do is get a regular Honda 10mm headed bolt that's long enough. If you search on Google for Honda 6x160, you should be able to find a bolt that's 160mm by 6mm in diameter, and that should be long enough for this one. You'll also want to get one that's maybe 100mm for this one, and you might be able to use that same one for this one, because on this one you have to actually clear this entire shaft. This one's these are both shorter, but this one's a little bit longer than that one, so you might be able to use the same shorter bolt for those 2. But this one is basically, you're gonna need a bolt about the length of your all the way to your thumb. Okay, so the tool that we're gonna use is a Harbor Freight wheel puller set. It's basically just a yoke, and you can use 3 positions, or we're gonna use 2 positions. So just put the threaded rod through here, and that's the larger one. There's also a smaller size here, and then there's kind of this flat one, but it's kind of, I think it's called concave. So basically you just snap them in. So we're gonna use that, and so I told you about the 6x160mm Honda bolt that you can try to find online, but since I don't have that, what I'm gonna do is use these. I got these parts from Ace Hardware Store. You might be able to get from Home Depot or Lowe's. These are all M6 bolts, which means they're metric 6mm. So this one's 100mm the length, and they're all pitch 1.00. I think the correct pitch is actually 1.25, but these work. So I've got a coupler. It's basically threaded, so you can connect these 2 bolts. And instead of getting 2 100mm length bolts, this one's 60mm because it's just a little bit cheaper, because I don't need the entire length. So what we're gonna do is take the longer one, couple it, just spin it on halfway, and then this one spin it on the other half, so they meet together. And then you're gonna measure out how much you need. We need to cut basically right here. And once you cut here, I would flip this over and then spin it on here. That way the nice side is sticking out instead of the side that you cut. So I'm gonna cut it right now. And also, this is an OEM Honda bolt. When it says a 10mm bolt, it's talking about the head. The body is still 6mm. Okay, so the tool that we're gonna use is this one. I think I showed you an orange one before. This is Tact Life, and that's the model number. The difference between the orange one and this one is this one's 1.8 amps. It's got more torque, and it's digital. So the attachment that we're gonna use is a reinforced cutoff wheel, and it's a Dremel. So I've marked out with a pen. I marked out where I need to cut these bolts. Kind of hard to see, but basically I'm gonna cut it where I marked it with a permanent marker, and then I'm gonna assemble the bolt thing that I just made. Just a quick mention, make sure you use safety glasses or safety goggles. So how this tool works is plug it in, and then you'll get a readout of 10, which is 10,000 RPM. And we're gonna start with 15,000, and then you just turn it on and off with this switch. And then also make sure that since we're cutting pretty close to the cut mark, we're gonna hold it with a pair of pliers. And then just turn on the machine. Okay, so I've cut them. This is the good side, the side I didn't cut. And then this is the side that I did cut. It doesn't really have to be pretty, it just has to be about the same length. And then we're gonna screw in the cut side into the coupler. And then you'll be screwing in this side into the gear on both sides. Okay, the only thing I forgot to mention is you'll need to get a washer, a really big one. This one's stamped HJC on it. And I got these at Home Depot, but you probably can find it at Ace Hardware or just any hardware store. So what we're gonna do is this was meant to take this gear off, but obviously we can't take this off first. We gotta take these off first because they're on top of this one. All we're gonna do for the smaller ones is we're gonna take the extension off.